This is it, the moment I've been dreaming about for years. I'm Pat, this is 2PJZ, and today I'm driving my dream car in Japan. Today I am doing something that has been on my bucket list since I was about 12 years old. We're in Japan. I have this R34 GT-R for the day. This isn't a video that I ever expected to make, to be honest. It was something that I always dreamed of making, but to be driving this, we're up here today at Hakone Turnpike. So we're going to be driving the whole road. We're going to be going down to Hakone Skyline. But let's throw it back to where it all began this morning when we picked up the car in Tokyo. There are moments in life that don't feel real. Moments where time slows down and you just think, how did I get here? For me, this is that moment. Ever since I first got into cars as a teenager, my ultimate dream car has been the R34 GT-R. What started as a love affair quickly became an obsession. The shape, the sound, the legacy. Sure, movies like Fast and Furious and thousands of hours on Gran Turismo played a role, but what made me truly obsessed was its motorsport and tuning history. The battles between legendary tuning shops, midnight racing through Tokyo, the R32's domination in motorsport, especially where I live in Australia. It was more than just a car, it was a symbol of everything I loved about Japanese car culture. And now I'm here, driving my dream car in Japan. But this isn't just about me. If you're watching this, I want you to know that you can do this too. The moment I booked my flights, before accommodation, before anything else, this was the first thing I locked in. I'd heard great things about Omashiro Rental Car, so I went with them. There are a few Japanese car rental companies that offer hero cars like GTRs, but these guys had the best reviews. Here's the deal. Bookings open exactly 60 days before your rental date, and trust me, they go fast. To make sure I didn't miss out, I set an alarm for midnight Japan time and locked in my dream spec Bayside Blue. I'll talk more about costs at the end, but to pick up the car, we had to take a 1.5 hour train ride out of Tokyo to their Noda head office. If you're planning to do this, get there early. There will be plenty of other JDM fanatics picking up their dream cars for the day. The check-in process was straightforward, and just look at their lineup. This isn't a sponsored video. Omashiro didn't pay me to say this. I just had an amazing experience and want to share how you can do it too. Oh god, this is cool. How cool is this? Actually driving a GT-R in Japan. This is literally something that I've been dreaming of since I was like 12 years old. This is sick. This is so cool. And just like that, I was here, behind the wheel of an R34 in Japan. Even though this car had nearly 500,000 kilometers on the clock, none of that mattered. Driving an R34 GT-R in Japan was a moment I had been waiting for my entire life.
Holy
So, what's our plan for today? We're going to take this car to Hakone Turnpike and Hakone Skyline, some of the most legendary driving roads in Japan. If you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you are already familiar with these roads. Made famous by Initial D, this was the one place I had to visit on my first Japan trip. This is real commitment today to get to Hakone Skyline and Hakone Turnpike because we're in the middle of like Wednesday morning traffic on the Tokyo Expressway, and I think it's going to add like maybe 40 minutes to an already 2.5 hour drive to actually get down there just because of how congested it is. And this is the fastest way I could have gone. If I tried to go around Tokyo, it would have taken even longer. The things that we do to fulfill our dreams, but even just sitting on the expressway, just in this car, just knowing I'm in a GT-R in Japan is just like so cool. But I do want to get my money's worth. I do want to get to the good roads. So Omashiro's office is on the other side of the city from where we needed to go, which added to our total transit time. In hindsight, I would have done this overnight to avoid rushing so much, but honestly, even sitting in traffic in an R34 GT-R in Japan was special enough for me. However, it's something you need to be aware of if you plan to do this. It's a shame that I'll be spending probably half the day in traffic, but that's the way it goes with these things. If you did want to hire a car from Omashiro, they are very far away from central Tokyo, so just keep that in mind. We probably should have left a little bit earlier because we had to catch 3 trains from Shibuya, and by the time we actually got checked in and actually got in the car, we'd lost an hour that we paid for. So it was 11 o'clock by the time we left. It's about 1 o'clock now. We'll be at Hakone by 1:30, so just keep in mind that you do need to keep plenty of time up your sleeve. We thought we did and we still didn't leave enough. Who cares? Once we got out of Tokyo's sprawling suburbs and highways, the roads finally opened up and it felt like we were in the real Japan. You can't see it yet, but here I'm pointing out Mount Fuji. After what felt like an eternity, we finally reached the small town of Hakone. We then jumped onto the main attraction, the Hakone Turnpike. One thing to keep in mind, if you want to do this yourself, Hakone Turnpike is a toll road. You need to bring cash with you. From memory, it was around $6 Australian. If you forget though, there's a 7-Eleven down the road where you can get some cash out. The speed limit on this road is capped at 50 kilometers per hour in most parts, but I couldn't care less because this scenery was beautiful and we had the whole place to ourselves. We're here now on Hakone Turnpike. There is no one else up here today. I've seen like 2 other cars on the way up. And this is just absolutely stunning. Like the scenery here is next level. You get to look all the way back over the mountains behind us. Then you've just got these beautiful autumn leaves that are still falling. And I feel like I know every turn on this road from watching Initial D. Like this is so cool. I don't even really have any words. I'm just like soaking this up and enjoying it. Driving a Bayside Blue R34 GT-R on Hakone Turnpike. I'm going to pull over here. While recording that bit, I saw this spot and I had to stop. Wow. This can't be real life right now. Look at this place. Look at this place. My God. So what do you think of it so far?
I think this is incredible and so worth I don't want to remember how many hours we sat in traffic to get here, but
like what,
incredible.
2+ hours of Tokyo traffic to get up here?
Oh my gosh, I don't move so slow, but this is so incredible. The roads and like I said, the autumn leaves. It's just so special. Oh. I'm so happy to be here with you in your favourite car doing it.
Wow, this is nuts. I haven't really had a little look around the 34 yet. So while we're here, let's check it out. God, it is so windy. So this is the Omishuro rental car R34 GT-R. It's essentially a stock car, like a stock suspension. It's got some Bridgestones. We've got RE004s on it. Some form of exhaust. Nismo exhaust on it down there. But as far as the rest of the car goes, it's all completely 100% stock. So it is so bright and glary out here, so I do apologize for that. I just wish you could see the view that I'm seeing right now. But as we were pressed for time, we needed to crack on. This is seriously one of the best things ever. Like this road was made for driving. Like this is pure driving nirvana. And like it's hard not to nerd out with all the Initial D stuff, but oh, I get the hype. I've watched this road in videos, but actually driving it yourself, being here yourself is a totally incomparable feeling to anything else. Like this is like special stuff. We've come up here to, not too far from where we just took off from, but this is the Sky Lounge. I don't know how well we can see it up there, but this is the Anestiwata Sky Lounge. I thought we'd have a little quick look around and see what cool cars are here before we carry on to Hakone Skyline. 34 is drawing a crowd wherever it goes. Seems like there's lots of motorbikes here today. So I don't really have too much time because I still have to get this thing back through Tokyo, but like there's heaps of motorbikes. And here you've got this really nice early Lotus Elise, which is super sick. Perfect car for a road like this. This big Hayabusa 250RR, like I used to have this old one. Just like being up here right now is incredibly special. It feels like a real privilege that I get to do this. I hope you're enjoying it. This scenery is just unreal. How beautiful is this?
We're definitely in the mountains. It's freezing, but it's so beautiful. This is magical.
I don't even know what to say about this. This really takes your breath away. This is just absolutely phenomenal.
Something else. So no, I want to stay up here.
I know, yeah, I want to stay here now, but we've got to keep going because it's 2:30. We've still got half hour to Hakone Skylines.
All right, Let's go. Back in the car.
I have been saying this whole trip that, and to everyone before I came on this trip, that I feel like I already know the majority of these places because I've watched that many hours of YouTube of these roads, of these surrounding areas. But honestly, if you're one of those people who, like me, is watching a bunch of Hakone Turnpike videos because you really want to go, you have to come for yourself, because this is unlike anything. I can't compare it to anything. I can't even tell you that this is similar to anything I've ever seen before, because you just get a bit of everything up here. There's greenery, there's like just big sweepers, you've got lots of nice straights, next level stuff. My tip for you is come and do this. Put this on your Japan list. We have so much more to go. Let's get back into it. After basking in views from the Sky Lounge, we got back on the road to head further up the turnpike. These JDM protein bars became a go-to for me when we were so often on the go. We pulled over to make sure we weren't getting lost as we approached the top of the turnpike and then carried on to Hakone Skyline. And while we got stuck in a bit of traffic after a gentle little send, I want to explain a little bit more about why this car is my favorite car of all time. So I figured we should probably talk very quickly while we're doing this whole thing about why I'm here in this car. So the R34 GT-R for me, and if you've been watching a few of my YouTube videos by now, you would know that this is my ultimate dream car. I've mentioned it several times. It's a massive reason for me to work so hard and to actually be able to buy one of these and achieve one, considering the prices of these now are $250,000 Australian dollars, which is absolutely nuts. As I mentioned, this car has nearly 500,000 kilometers. It has been absolutely clapped. It has had a very hard life, but still, it is really, really impressive and fun to drive. I've absolutely loved it up here so far. Similarly, for Hakone Skyline toll, you'll also need cash. So that's what, about, what's 800 yen? Is that $8?
Yeah.
$8 to do this drive? Oh, I can understand now why they call it Skyline. These views left me speechless. Everywhere we pull over now that you can see on this overlay, this is just like... I feel so lucky, honestly. I feel so lucky right now. Dream level stuff. Oh, yeah! Oh, this is literally... This is it! This is actually it! Oh my god. Wow. Man. Wow. Holy f...
Gotta pull up.
No way. No way. Oh, that's not real life. Wow. Wow. Have to be me.
Let's get out.
You are going to lose your mind. Like, are you serious? Oh my god. Talk about bucket list stuff. That is the clearest view of Mount Fuji that we have seen all day. And for something even cooler, I have an R34 GT-R and there's Mount Fuji behind me. Oh. Wow. Man, like, sometimes in life you get to do some pretty cool stuff, and this is one of those for me that you are literally experiencing in real time. I've not scripted any of this, I've not made any of this. This is like, I did not expect to come around that corner there and have this view. That is absolutely 150% surreal. My god. This moment right here was the exact image I had dreamt of in my head every day since I first got into cars. Bayside Blue R34 GT-R and a snow-capped Mount Fuji. Honestly, it's actually making it a little bit emotional. That's just... Oh man, it's like the sort of thing you literally dream of for years and years and years. So to actually see it in real life is... It's honestly a bit breathtaking. Like, I'm literally welling up a bit. I could have spent hours here, but sadly we had to keep cracking on as we needed to get back to Tokyo. So back on the road now, coming up Hakone Skyline. This is by far the most surreal driving experience I have ever had in my whole life, like by far. Oh my god! There's another beautiful spot of Fuji. Literally just stepped out the car here, and then look what you've got over there. Bloody hell. Absolute madness, man. Sometimes in life there are some things you do and you physically don't know how to describe them. And for me right now, with the sun slowly setting over the lake over here, an R34 GT-R, Mount Fuji in the background when I can actually find it to point to it. Some things you just can't explain. They just make you feel a certain way. And it's just very, very special. It is very, very special. I wish we could stay longer, but we really have to get back in the car. But I wasn't really sure when we were in that traffic in Tokyo if it was all going to be worth it, but it's hard not to get very emotional doing this. Now that we're coming back down the mountain, Fuji is literally to the left, looking absolutely majestic. And I know for a fact it won't show up in camera a quarter of how amazing it looks in real life, because I've watched many of these videos of people driving Hakone. Like, I thought it looks pretty magical, but seeing it in person yourself, there's just literally nothing like it. So you have to do it. This genuinely feels like you are in heaven. Honestly, genuinely thought, sweet God, that every time we come around a corner there's a new angle of Fuji. I'm sad to be leaving now. Now we've come to the end of the toll gate. Hey. As we made our way back down the mountain, past the toll gate, through a random quiet touge road and back onto the highway, I was feeling like I'd just woken up from a dream. So we've finished on the touge road, sadly, and I don't know where that time went. Like, we picked up the car, by the time we got on the road it was 11, it's now 4 o'clock, and it took us like 2 hours to get here, but still, I honestly don't know where that time went. This is...
Oh my god.
Everywhere you get to see Mount Fuji is... You have to do this. You just have to do this. If you're watching this video because you're wondering what it's like, you have to do this. That's all I can say. It's just like... Oh... I'm usually quite good with my words, but today I feel like I've lost the ability to speak because my brain has just been in this massive dopamine surge, experiencing things that I've only ever dreamt of. And then we got back to the highway, and don't think for 1 second the journey was complete. So sadly, all good things must come to an end, and we have finished on the touge roads, but I still have 3 hours in this car, because that's how long it's going to take me to get back to drop the car off at the rental place. A few things that I learned today that I want to share with you, because the whole idea with this series of Japan videos is to be answering questions that I've had for years and couldn't find in any other videos. The first thing that you might be wondering is how much does this cost and where did I get it from? This cost around $460 for the day. That would be tolls on top of that. The Hakone Turnpike was around 10 bucks or so. Skyline was around $8, and then you pay like $3.60 or so at the end. So the actual touge roads are incredibly cheap, but it's the tolls going to and from, if you're coming from Tokyo, that are expensive. I think my maps told me it was costing around 45 Australian dollars from Tokyo to get here. Probably another 50 or so on the way back, maybe even more. So you've got to budget money for tolls. You've got to pay the fuel for the rental car when you fill it up, because obviously, like all rental cars, which is a global thing, you have to give it back with a full tank. Something else that I wish that I knew earlier is just how long it takes to get here. I really underestimated the traffic. So it took a good 2.5 to 3 hours, including a stop at a 7-Eleven to get some snacks to actually get to Hakone Turnpike. So if you're going to do it, my recommendation will be, if you can afford it, to get the car overnight, take it back to your hotel in Tokyo, and then leave early the next morning and avoid the traffic. I wish I did that, because I would have had all day with the car, and even though it's a little bit more money up front, you get more time with the car and less time in traffic. Like, we probably spent maybe an hour and a half ish on the touge roads and probably 5 to 6 hours in traffic. So that's fine. Like, I have still loved my experience, even though I've been sitting in traffic for the majority of the day, because those views, that experience, the fact that I literally almost cried on camera just showed you that this meant so much to me, and I would happily do it all over again in the exact same order and sit in the traffic and just do it again to have that experience for the first time. That is honestly something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and it's up there with one of the coolest things that I have ever done. Like, by a country mile, by an absolute country mile. It's still just like bumper to bumper traffic, and we've got 142 Ks till we get back to Tokyo, so we'll check in with you when we're a little bit closer. The day up to this point was manic, and honestly it hadn't sunk in at any point the meaning of what I was doing, but all of a sudden, an hour into cruising back on the highway towards Tokyo, something hit me. It's all really sinking in now, just how special this is. Like, it was all just like go, 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 go this morning to actually get down here, get all the shots, figure out where we're going. But now that we actually have some time to chill, now that we're on the way back to Tokyo, this is just so special. I'm just really soaking in the fact that I'm driving my dream car in Japan. You just have to do it. Like, it is so good. As traffic started to get a lot worse, I spotted this Porsche 993 Turbo in front of me, which made the stop-start monotony a little less boring. Then the sun went down, and we were beginning to stress we'd be late to return the car, the penalty of which is a large fee. By this point, we were both so fulfilled with today, but as we headed back towards Yokohama, we were exhausted. After hours of non-stop driving, I was honestly beginning to look forward to sitting on the train again. Then, as we passed an ETC gate to wake us up, the 993 vanished. Wow. Tokyo's highway system is so impressive. In Australia, we have nothing like this, and after cruising for a long time through tunnels, including getting stuck to pull over for an ambulance, we hit the Wongon. If you're familiar with Wongon Midnight, you'll know what I mean here. If not, the Wongon is another name for Tokyo's Bayshore route, made famous by the Wongon Midnight anime and related arcade games. Cruising in an R34 GT-R on this very road, the same one I grew up playing during every arcade visit as a kid, was again another dream come true and another bucket list item ticked off. Once the hype about cruising the Wongon eventually wore off, we began to get a little bit worried. It was now around 6 PM and we had to take the K1 route to get back to Omoshiro by 7 PM. Problem is, we were 1 hour and 20 minutes away and we still hadn't filled up. You need to do this as close to the drop-off location as possible to ensure you give the car back with a full tank. Traffic still wasn't moving and you physically can't turn off for kilometers on end, which didn't help the fact we were both busting for the bathroom. Even though we were tired, stressed and about to wet ourselves, something about seeing Tokyo's skyline at nighttime while driving a Skyline made it so much easier. While we cruised towards the fuel station, I wanted to reflect on this experience for a second. I've already answered the question of if you should do this, but I wanted to discuss why. For me, the R34 represents more than a car. Because of its worth now, and yes, I know it's objectively not worth $250,000, it represents a reason to work hard, to stay consistent, and to keep pushing through. Your why might be different, but you need to know what it is. Having this experience today, with Erin alongside me, cemented this crazy lust I have for these cars. Experiencing such a special piece of Japan in a car that I've wanted to own for years is something that will stick with me forever. The next step is to get my own and do this drive again. At long last, we finally made it to the petrol station around the corner from Omoshiro. Seeing as this was the only place we had light, it was a great time to wrap up. So now we have a little bit of light. We have finished the 3.5 hour trek that it took to get here from Hakone and Fuji. Absolutely worth it. The one thing I will say though, and the last thing that I'll leave you with before we wrap up today, is if you're going to do this, don't do it during the day where you have to return the car in peak hour. My only regret with this whole thing is that I spent probably 5 hours in traffic out of like the 9 hours that I had with the car. So if you're going to do it, see if you can get it overnight, because the experience of actually having a car like this overnight is is absolutely worth it, and I had so much fun. This was a total dream come true for me. It's something I've been wanting to do since I was a teenager, and if you're like me, then absolutely do it. You know, I'm making this video for the me 10 years ago who would have been watching someone else do this. So if you've really appreciated this, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is just one of a series of Japan videos that are coming out. I'm absolutely wrecked. I can barely talk now, but this is a really cool shot to finish off with the car at the petrol station. So thank you so much for your time. Leave a comment about what you enjoyed or what you want to learn. I'm happy to make a follow-up video. Paying for fuel now, so we've got to get to it. Thank you again so much. This is a dream come true. It's something I'll look back on for many years until I get my own GT-R that we can drive in Japan. Keep chasing your dreams, stay driven, be 1% better every day. My name's Pat. You've been watching 2PJZ. We'll see you in the next one.